A sip of my tea, and yep, we are doing it. Finally decided just go and talk about things that I care now about, and do the God's will and stop giving fuck about what I want and just to fulfill the destiny that God prepared for me. So yeah, I mean, need to start somewhere, and I was like postponing like 100 times doing these like live video vlogs because I was thinking, all right, maybe I need like a better camera, maybe I need to arrange the setup, maybe I need to edit it, maybe I need to do this, maybe I need to do that, and maybe I need to, I don't know, grow back here, maybe I need to look somehow. Actually, it doesn't matter at all. All these things that I've been thinking, because most important is just to start and speak. Here I made myself a patch, which is King Jesus. I'm having all these weird lights, and one of my teeth is shining in this light. So that's pretty fun. La. I'm so inspired now by what's happening in my life. I just came back from a long walk, and I've been listening to some pastors preaching, and I was thinking about like what happened today for me. And when I got rid of fear of speaking about like making this live video vlog, because I was kind of resistant. But I've been inspired by one girl who also transitioned from like witchcraft, occult, and New Age into Christianity. And her page is called Jesus is Truth. And I was like, wow, I cannot postpone it at all anymore. Like, I need to do this. I need also to speak up. And actually, I was starting to feel like a physical pain on my heart when I was not doing it. So another day, I was like riding my bicycle and listening to this girl, Chelsea, talking on this Jesus is Truth podcast. And I was thinking, oh, I know God is telling me I should also do like a YouTube channel, and I should share my experience. And I was like feeling all of this like pain in my chest for not doing it. And I was like, oh, and I was having still all kind of like a demonic attacks, which like manifested as some kind of fears and doubts and confusion in my head, which would be like, oh, but like, you know, what kind of like people, what will think, and you're supposed maybe to do your art, and like instead of doing this. And I was like, no, like all my life that it was before, it's like it's over. I mean, I became a new boring Christian, and all this magic, all these rituals, all these personas, I mean, old me died. I mean, I, I'm done with that. I died with Christ, and I risen with Christ. I got baptized. I threw away all my occult stuff. Like, I even threw away my fucking art. I don't have. I threw away my books, all amulets, talismans, all kind of like gifts, everything what was connected with the dark side, tarot cards, and I mean everything is just gone. Then I changed my living place. I was living in Berlin, and I was living from my art and from my paintings, and I understood it's like it's over. I mean, I got a clear message like from God, like this kind of life. I knew that I need to do a sacrifice, and I need to sacrifice the life that I've been living, and I have to. Old me has to die, you know. So I decided not to be resistant anymore, and I was doing everything fast. In May, I had all these revelations and supernatural experiences, and while also being engaged into like magic practices and just like channeling, connecting to the Akasha records and doing tarot cards and like just all kind of that. I got lots of information, and yeah, I got this opportunity to like break the curse that was on my family and to break the pattern in our like family and basically save. I got the opportunity to save myself and to save my family, which is deeply rooted in the witchcraft. Apparently, since I grew up in that, I haven't even noticed how deeply we are rooted in that. And because like I thought everyone's uncles have pentagrams drawn on their floor in the kitchen. Hey, who knew? Like, well, not everyone. Just me? Weird. Yeah. Mm. So yeah, and when having these revelations about sacrificing my life, you know, and I was like thinking that, wow, I'm like a Jeanne d'Arc, and now like, oh, I'm gonna like fight this battle, and yeah, I was like having really like basically, I would call it like a performing exorcism for myself. This is how it was the closest like to comparison, like you can call it deliverance, but well, the demonic realm really doesn't want to let you go if you decide ever like to leave it. If you are deeply immersed into like occult practices and you are like a witch or warlock or Hawata or occultist shape shifter or enigma, whatever they were like calling me, for example. I love how that tooth is just shining. Well, life was not boring, I would say. Like, I mean, since I was pretty good at it, I was like traveling the world and just like hiring all these like demonic forces like to fulfill my wishes, like, whoa, go out there or go home, as we used to say. And when I say we, it's like me and my comrades, like magicians, artists that I've been connected with, dating and and doing projects and collaborations with. So that's like totally there's like a network, magical network. And while some people are still like questioning if magic is real or what is real, is the Satan real? Is God real? Like those forces are like operating full speed, and it's definitely not boring. The spirits world, the invisible world, it's like it's never chill. It's always, always, always action, action, action. Yeah. So yeah, it's like God doesn't need like lukewarm barriers. It's like it's either you are God, they're like hot, or you are cold. And like for me, it's so crazy because I thought like I consider myself being like the last person that like to be recruited in the God's army, because I mean now I covered it, but I had like Satana written here, and I got like on my leg tattoo like saying like I serve Insorta Diaboli, inspired by the Borger song. And I was just like always into dark art and metalhead, like kind of gothic aesthetic and so on, and just like nihilist, like atheist. I didn't believe anything. It's just like everything was boring to me, and I was just like, ugh, like, and I just really from like sensitive, kind of introverted, like a geek girl, turned into kind of like aggressive, nihilistic, like just like rebel, kind of that kind of story. Who wants to be loved, like in the American movies? And yeah, like chasing American dream, but like in a dark way. So yeah, that's me. I mean, like super mean bitch, but also like getting insulted super fast and just like could be super harsh, but want just to be hugged. That kind of person. I was creating lots of art because always unhappy and didn't know like how how like where are the answers. I was just like digging through all these like ancient scriptures, all the philosophies. It's just like, come on, man, can like does anyone knows anything at all? And meanwhile, just doing lots of nonsense. It's like this is drinking, having fun, it's like drugs, dancing, traveling the world, like from living in Berlin, London, New York, LA, Mexico, like finding myself like in Colombia, hang out with chaos magicians there. Like the crowds of crazy magicians came to come like just greet me in Colombia. Like it was just I don't know, I had lots of experience with magic, like raising myself from nothing into I don't know, into something. It's like creating myself this avatar, this like the superhero, this mask. And yeah, it was exhausting, but I mean, as if I had seemed like I had nothing better to do, just like keep on like going, doing that bullshit. Of course, I wanted to die at some point. Like I would be just like, oh, what is the meaning? What is the point? Well, why am I even doing this? Why am like living this life with some kind of like entertainer and joker? But at the same time, I was like, look around, what else? Like no one knows nothing, so I need to do something. So I was like, ugh, my kind of show must go on. Like just like never in my life I would not understand what's the point of thinking like, all right, the only thing that makes sense for me is being in love and being in relationship. Just like then I'm like, just like, can I just like hide like in your crotch and just love me. Needed that validation, needed that confirmation, and just wanted to feel loved and accepted and just like safe and so that kind of stuff. Because constantly being tired and drained, knowing how much deeply immersed I was into like channeling all this demonic realm and how they were feeding off my energy. It's not surprising that I was tired and exhausted and had all these suicidal thoughts. Yet little did they know. So yeah, always just kind of not satisfied, just like not happy. Also, kind of comedian, like a dark comedian. Like I don't know. Yeah. So I did stand up once, by the way. I don't know. Like my friend said that I should better like go back to drawing. I was like, whatever. And I'm bored of drawing. It's if like I'm even questioning did I ever liked it, or it was always just because I felt that heartbroken, sad, or just lonely, and I would just like start drawing and just like just like finding myself creating all these fantasy worlds where I can escape and just like create some kind of like visions where I would just like forget where I am at that moment, and this is how I would relieve the existential pain. Or I would be crying literally and just feeling sorry for myself after another time of being like disappointed in like love relationship, and I would be like, oh, all right, keep on crying, bitches, don't stop drawing, and then just like digging into all kind of like magic and whatever, like all kind of practices from Reiki to bioenergetics, just like trying to remove the terrible heart pain that some like fucking shady douchebags called guys that I've been in love with like caused me. I'm like, thank you God for sending all those wonderful lessons, but it was super painful. I wanted to die. Like, and I was going through all these weird people asking, like, can you like remove, like, I have like a here physically, it's like a contraction, my heart, it hurts, and I wanna die. Can you do something? So I was really not impressed by the traditional practices. I went to this doctor, like a therapist, and she was saying when I was 20 something in the beginning, first like 22 something, I was just crying and depressed, and she said like, well, you should break up with this guy if he's depressed too, and just like stop burning everything and walking in the fumes and start drawing more funny, brighter drawings. And I was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And she gave me antidepressants, and I was like, I'm not gonna drink that. It's just like, I don't think that this is the answer. And then I was thinking, all right, I'm just gonna learn to heal myself. I totally believe that's possible, and so on. So I spent like another like 8 years or like whatever, like taking all kind of different methods and just changing people I've been dating, getting heartbroken, drawing more, and then looking for new methods and like yeah. And this is how I got to know all kind of alternative like healing things. And there's like I've tried so much of everything, and like nothing it was really effective. Otherwise, I've been stayed there probably. And I was like so disappointed. I'm like, ugh, all these people are doing all this kind of stuff, like really, and just like then I became even more nihilistic. Then I was like just creating patches with like sell your pain, because I understood like paintings are also just like puking out all your like all this disappointment and emotions and creating some kind of like demons that you like kind of, I don't know, personalizing, that anger and that disappointment, and just like mixing up like some knowledge that I've constantly been, I'm like was like a data junkie, just like constantly just like researches on researches like nonstop, like from day till the evening. I'm like give me information, feed me like everything from like Egypt to like conspiracy theories, like from philosophy to like Taoism, and like as being chaos magician, you're like kind of paradigmal pirate, so you're constantly like selecting, just like cherry picking, like different doctrines and like chorus dilemma, and but I never was really like reading the books from the beginning to the end. I would be like kind of selecting things and just combining into like my own path, just as yeah, I like that. And like using everything with my art practices, and I was like still not really like fully, like aware, kind of like on how serious it is, because it was like, yeah, like kind of, yeah, maybe it was, but it's kind of like bullshit. But I mean, I have nothing better to do, just like to believe that it was, because like, yeah, what else? I'm like, just you need to believe it, but you kind of like, this is like how darkness has you holds on you because you always kind of like think that everything's like a joke and just like kind of bullshit. Then one day you just like have so many demonic attacks that you want to kill yourself and just go mad. So yeah, everything is a joke till you fucking want to die. Or anyway, I was bored. I was bored anyway with that and was so depressed like last year. This is when after traveling the world, I came back to Lithuania. I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm tired, and I was like, just like super exhausted. I felt like, wow, after all these journeys around the world, with like invisible forces I've been hiring to carry me around, and I was like, damn, I'm just like exhausted. And I was like, what's the point of like doing this? Just like go around, like just to perform and just like I don't know, like entertaining people for what? For just to collect some more like game tokens and just like to buy more shit. It's like mm, just like to present. Oh yeah, let's party as if we are like teenagers and just like do more drugs. Why? Why? It's like why? Why should they like do this game? It's just like compete with someone. Oh, I'm better than you. Look at my art. This is cool. Just like, or just like invent some kind of another bullshit lie that's like, oh yeah, and this vision that I've seen. Uh, yeah, to create some kind of character, some kind of story, and just like wait till people gonna come and like, yeah, listen to you. Everything. I just like was such like nihilism and just like not feeling like doing it at all. And I still felt like, so what? So I'm just gonna like stay now here in my home country and what? So people are still going to jobs and people still doing something. And I was like, so this not wishing to do anything at all. But then I once again like convinced myself, all right, show must go on, and did some motivational talks in some schools that I went to and contemporary art center, and I was like, all right, just like do motivational public speaking, so you're gonna maybe convince yourself like that you should still go, and do shit. So and then I did some tattoos, and then I went to Berlin and like to work with one musician, my friend. And then I was like, all right, whatever I need, maybe to do some paintings. And I was like, what's the challenge? What's next? What should I do? And then I was like, all right, I'm in Europe. What's big here? I'm like, okay, maybe I should go to Switzerland. Maybe, maybe during Art Basel. Maybe I should sell a canvas there. And if I'm gonna sell a canvas, then I'm gonna like stick with the painting. Bam, I go manifest like that, like exhibition there. I go to Switzerland, I go to Basel during Art Basel, and I sell a canvas for like 4,000 euros. Bam, bam, bam. I was bored, exhausted, and just like I would go there and I felt like so lonely. I'm like sitting there like in a restaurant and in this like ancient fancy like house on the river bank. What was like in Basel, and everything is being paid, and I'm like this party happening, interesting art is supposed to be, and I'm like it's deadly fucking emptiness inside of me, just like. And I remember like sitting in this restaurant at the table alone, and there's some music and some people are chatting around, and I'm like, I'm just like, just can I have like a friend? Just like I'm so fucking lonely, and just like I'm like, kill me. It's like, what is this? Is this happiness? Is this like success? Is just like being successful artist? Just like like feeling like an exotic bird. It's like you can have everything, it's just you're not gonna have like no one like clothes. I'm like, that's awesome. So I'm like, I'm boring as fuck. Well, this is when I met this guy who became like a collector of my canvases and sold my painting. Was I happy? I was like, at that point, it just was not giving me happiness. I'm like, oh, cool, you want to buy my painting? I guess I sold my painting now. And then he bought like more paintings. And I was like, I don't know, just suddenly from like not selling my paintings for like 10,000 euros, and just like, I was like, oh, okay, I guess now this is happening. And at that same point, I was kind of falling into relationship with this guy who was super annoying when I met him first time, and I had like red flags on him. But I was at that point so depressed, and like he was suggesting some drugs, so I was like, whatever, man. I was like, ugh, I'm bored. So my depression and nihilism really pushed me into like hang out with like people that self-respecting person wouldn't do that, I guess. I was just like entertained by insanity, and as I see now, like people possessed by demons always been interesting to me. So I was just like, let's see how far it could go. I guess this is that lasted 11 months. And then I got like this, like, of course, classic betrayal, which was always like my life story. It's like it's good to be like not only like as I was a visionary artist, but also have this gift of like of like when you are fucking consulting the devil, you get all the information you want. So it's like it was like kind of like pointless to try to hide something from me. And I mean, I would really, one thing for me would be like funny. I'm like, do you really think that you can hide something from me? And like a person is like looking at your face and lying to you, and I'm like, you're really, really good actor. Yeah, that's true. I think you can hide something from me. With my friend witches, we had like a comment, made a ritual, channeled all the information with screenshots, and it's like, bam, dude, goodbye, goodbye. Of course, it was a bit sad. I mean, I knew that he's a pile of shit, and like, but you kind of get used to like constant love, hate, torture, pleasure relationships. Just, I had even like this like comics, like series started, Love to Torture, that was about our relationships. It was like kind of roller coaster of emotion, just laughing, crying. It's like violence and just sex addiction and just lots of drugs and just lots of insanity and insane laughter. It was kind of like a clown. I would consider him like a I don't know, was entertaining. So, and I'm glad it's over because yeah, that person had lots of problems, and actually I was the one who wants to solve problems, and he wants to just have a good time, as he would say. And so he did have a good time, not with me, but like with 10 years younger woman, and this is how our paths separated. I felt like betrayed the same way that like Jesus being betrayed by Judas. And that's helped me actually. Really helped me to become best friends with Jesus Christ. So I immediately was able to forgive him and to thank him. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So at the moment when I was separating with him, I closed myself at home, and I've been like writing my papers on masters on like visual programming and socially conscious art. socially responsible, socially conscious art. Yeah, and it turned out like a like confession of all the sins basically that I did in my life, and like just like writing about like my family history, like so much information. Just like at that time, I'm still was like a deeply like into occult and just like tapped into Akasha records and just like downwards, just like writing everything, ting, 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 information pulling and putting it together, bam, 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 and all how the evil operates and how it was operating through our family, different people, different times. So it was lots of things happening there, and I was like not sleeping, and it's kind of like a insane, kind of like manic, like a state where I don't need to eat, I don't need to sleep. I'm just like vroom, everything just like a sparkles electricity, just like la 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 la. La. I know it all, you know. And I've been also creating like art, these canvases where we're just like like light from the eyes, and just like I can understand everything. So, and I felt like I had this like a vision. It was like a full moon in Scorpio coming, and it was in May, around May 16 or something. And I figured out that I have a chance to break this curse that is on my family. And because this like asteroid or meteor, it's like a is passing by, which is called Ceres, and it has the legend behind itself. So the legend about it is about like one god guy who was in love with this female on the earth that he saw, and he fell in love with her, but like in a lustful way. That and he was trying to seduce her and like to bribe her because he was like this. Really just like wanted to fuck her and just like to use her. So she didn't give up into that. So he got really angry, and then somehow he managed like to spit her in the face and like spit her in the mouth. And from that moment, she could speak only truth, but no one would believe her. And funny enough, that my ex-boyfriend happened to spit in my face and in my mouth at some time, you know, very just before I figure out this legend, because just before we broke up, he didn't would let me go out of his apartment, and he got angry and he spit in my face, and I was like, oh, dude, like that was just I don't know, it just too much, too much. And then I read this legend about like this asteroid passing by, and it is connected with like all my personal story. And I felt like I can speak now truth, but no one believes me because the same time I was telling people like how he would treat me and how he was like unfaithful with this like young witch, and everyone like, hey, chill, you are like, are you alright? Like, da, da, da. Like as if I would be fucking like a weirdo, and like he would just deception, like lying to all the people, lying to all the friends, and just making me look like I'm insane, you know. It's just like it sucked. Anyway, so I felt like, all right, no one believes me. I'm just like closing myself at home and just gonna write down everything and just like whatever. And then, all right, I'm seeing, okay, I can break this family curse, and it's connected with this legend, and full moon in Scorpio is like I have like 1.5 days, and like doing tarot cards, like figure out where what I need to work on, like consulting like my spirit guides, you know, and then I'm like figuring out that all right, it is like this basically a vision comes that Anubi gonna be coming, this Egyptian, you know, like God Anubi. During that full moon in Scorpio on midnight, Anubi gonna be coming in my apartment through the doors, and he's gonna come like to wake my heart. And if my heart is heavier than the feather, then I will need to die. And I was like, shit, I need to write down everything what I was doing like wrong in my life, because it's just like, and I like set the timer, and I was like, all right, it's like a 1 day and a half, something. And I was like, whew, I better hurry up. And I'm writing everything about like my family, about my childhood, when I first felt hurted and unfair, like what I did wrong, how I treated my friends, how I treated like everyone. And then I, even more than that, and I was like repenting for my sins, literally. I was like, shit, I did that unfairly. And then I'm crying, and then I'm understanding it, and I'm letting it go, and I was laughing. And then I'm like, with the cars, was like just revealing information where I need what to forgive, and where I need to repent. And I was just like doing everything super fast. And then even like writing, I was like, whoa, I need to write emails to people that I've dated, and I like dated, and I need to apologize them for what wrong I did, like how I was like unfaithful to someone, how I'm just like whatever person I ever hurted in my life, I need just to apologize now. So I'm like making a list of like people that I had any type of like romantic encountering, and in the last like I don't know like years. And I'm just like, whoa, emails, and I'm connecting their names. When I looked, they're like Christian names, and I'm like adding some like a text which I Google like their name, and this is like Christian meaning, and like they all have like a name of the saints. And I'm like, whoa, every person is a saint not recognized. This is what I'm seeing, and I'm connecting, and I'm like, oh, I was dating saints. And then I'm like connecting, wow, everyone has this potential to be either like a saint or a sinner. And I'm like writing them, adding this like a text about what their name is meaning, like as if being like saint, and kind of like feel like I'm reminding them how they have this potential. So, like if it is like a Michael, or if it's like uh, well, I didn't date a guy named Michael, but anyway, if that would be, like explanations, like Leonard, for example, it's like if you Google like Leonard Christian meaning, you get like some kind of information what it means. So, and then, yeah, writing like, hey, when I was like dating you, I like fucked this guy, so I'm like really sorry like for making this like thing, and like please forgive me, and so on. So from like 30 people, maybe like 3 replied that they forgave me a long time ago or already and something, and those other people not. But I didn't care, because, and I connected into all one big thread, and I just sent it all. I'm like, yes, please, all the world know my sins. I am like this. Yes, I did it all. I mean, I don't know. I was just sad, upset, and I was just like selfish, crazy, whatever, man. Just like, I mean, Anubis is coming on midnight to wake my heart, and I need fucking to do it because I'm gonna die. So here you go. Like, take all this dirt. This is what I did. I admit everything. I mean, even though those people who I've been like dating, they did lots of shit to me and never really apologized. I don't care. I apologize you. Like it's all right. It's on your conscience. Like if you don't want to even accept your wrongdoings, I don't give a fuck. I need to repent for my sins. That's what I understood, and that's what I did. And I was just like crying, like a non-stop, like crying, getting this like electricity running through my body, and just like woo, releasing that, and just like super into that kind of magic, like mode, just like information, just like doing, understanding, insights, revelations, like cosmic downloads. It's just like woo woo in my world, in my apartment, not leaving it. It's just like feeling like the Jeanne d'Arc. Then I'm starting to feel like, oh, I'm feminine Christ. I'm understanding the sacrifices of Jesus suddenly, because I feel like I need to sacrifice my life now in order to save my family, because I need to take away this curse, which is connected with this legend, with connected with that god and this mortal woman and this like spitting in the face and this speaking truth. At the same time, my master's paper like turned into like kind of autobiographic, like a confession of the Christ, like of the sins, like repentance. And I'm like getting so paranoid that I'm gonna die, that like, because I feel that I'm so guilty and I did so much like bad things, that I'm starting to like see the visions how my ex-boyfriend's breaking in my apartment and just coming to stab me, and I'm falling on the canvas and I'm bleeding on the canvas, and this is like my last masterpiece. Or like if the bird is flying through the window, I'm like, wow, this is like a sniper, it's gonna shoot me, like I'm gonna get killed because of the information of what I'm writing down. And then I was like, it's still like time is like ting 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 ting. I still have some time till full moon in Scorpio, that 1.5 day period. So happening like so much events, like the time like kind of weirdly like stretching and just like being super weird. And yeah, and then what I had, like I felt like it was like a ego death, because I was just like writing and feeling like so much like fear and anxiety of that death, which I felt like unavoidably is coming. Like my muscles all stretched, because also I was like doing some speed at that time and not sleeping and not eating and just like channeling on this insane information. So, and being in constant like fear of like I'm just attacked by lots of demons. So, and I was just like, oh, my muscles, I contracted them, like, still like writing. I'm like, everything in my life, just like, I need to write down all information, everything I know, because I feel if I'm gonna die, like, I need to, like, have it all written down. And then got like so much fear that they even like send the copies to like, to my good friends saying like, hey, if something gonna happen to me, like, I want it all like published, because it was like, so sure that like I'm gonna get killed for like what I know. Yep. And I was like, let it go. I'm like, your muscles, relax it, relax it. Yes. And I then accepted the fact that I'm gonna die. And I was like, yeah, probably gonna die, bitch, because of how you lived your life and and everything. I'm really like, I want to go to pee, so I need to finish this soon. So, and then I was kind of like looking around and like touching the table, and I'm like, wow, like everything, I'm just gonna leave now, because this is like, this is the end. I still left like a couple hours till Anubis is coming, and I'm sure that like my heart is gonna be heavier than the feather. So then I was like, I'm just gonna like go out and just like get a sandwich and just like get some coffee and just enjoy my last hours, I guess. And when I went outside, a weird thing happened that never in my life I felt like I'm appreciating like things so much when I did then, because I was feeling as if I'm like seeing everything really for the last time. And I was just walking around and thinking, wow, I was never grateful for my life. And that I understood then that it was my biggest sin. The biggest sin for which then I got like immediately understood, wow, I've been born, I've been in this world, and I was never ever grateful for my own life. And that's why I was not able to enjoy anything what is happening in my life, because I had the biggest sin possible. I was not grateful for being even alive. So how could I be satisfied by anything else, you know? So that's what, yeah, that was like, I think, one of the biggest insights in my life. And suddenly I had no fear anymore of dying. And I thought it's okay. You can always like want to stay longer, you know, on this earth. Just like you can do this, do that, but yeah, you can always want to like stay longer, to play longer, it's like with the kids in the sandbox or something. But it's okay. It's okay to go. So yeah, I just went and get like some sandwich, and I was living near the cemetery, and I like to eat there alone since I had just like left my unfaithful boyfriend. Also, since I felt like a Jeanne d'Arc, I like shaved my head, which now something is growing back here. And I kind of was still trapped into this new age thinking, which was like the satanic trickery that it was still pulled on me. So I was still like having some, I know I was sympathizing like for the Buddhism, and I was considering that Jesus is just one of the prophets who was maybe like a yogi, a human being who just like, you know, like kind of ascended, and I didn't understand yet the true meaning of the scriptures and the story of Christ, which is much more like narrow and it's like not really like, it's nothing to do with this new age bullshit crap. But at that time, it was just like, yeah, I'm understanding the sacrifice of Christ, and I felt like I died. I felt like I died the same like Jesus died on the cross when he was betrayed by Judas. I felt betrayed my then boyfriend, and I felt like I died as a human being when I was saying for you, when I had that ego death. And then for another like 3 days, I was feeling like a transparent. I was just like a ghost. It was like a ghost state. I even have some videos where I'm like, after 3 days, I'm saying, "Whoa, I'm alive! I'm back! I'm alive!" You know, and I kind of got more like grounded and into myself. And I just understood I need to leave Berlin, and just I immediately started like working on moving out. And I thought I'm just gonna throw out all my art, but apparently I understood. Oh, this is how I was looking at everything as like a game, you know, because I was really like into like reprogram your own reality. You are like the master of your destiny. Everything is like a kind of game theory, gamification. So I was even at that table when I was writing everything and feeling so much fear, and I thought like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Then at some moment I remember thinking, but wait, it is your game, so you can choose if you like gonna like publish all this information like now. You definitely, there's like a big chance that you're gonna get killed by the people who are involved in this information. But maybe you cannot do that. Maybe you can live. We can publish it later, maybe die later. I don't know. Well, anyway, this just like what was going through my head at that time. But I was understanding that this is my game, and I don't need to end it like now if I don't want to. I can choose. Do I want to die now or no? And then I understood that wow, we still have this like free will, so you can like do some kind of like very strong action, and you're gonna like get this reaction. Like if you're gonna like do something, you might get it back, and you can might get killed. So, or you can, you know, you just understood. I don't need to die. Like old me has to die as a human being, as a person, but I mean, I can live as a new person, which has completely changed the life and who I am and what are my core values and so on. So I have like a testimony about how I'm understanding that I would spend my life laughing at the human suffering because I was like mocking Jesus on the cross. Yeah, that was happening in May. And I was like, wow, mind blown because I recognized that, well, as a like metalhead, like it's just like never taking religious symbols seriously and not understanding what this all this thing about. And of course, definitely not believing that Jesus like was like a real son of God sent here, like to really sacrifice himself in order like to absorb all our sins and to die for our sins. I just, of course, was in total darkness, and this was impossible for me to understand. And so I thought, like, whatever. This like all this people just found these crosses, and I was just like, of course, inverted cross everywhere, and just making t-shirts Satan is my boyfriend and all that kind of bullshit. Hailing Satan just basically on a daily basis. Yeah, and like suddenly understanding like, whoa, I was laughing at the human suffering. I mean, this is a person on the cross, and it's like obviously it's in pain, And I was like just whoa, mind blown. How could be that my heart was like so like a little black stone, and then I connected how wow when I first been hurted when I as a kid how my heart was starting to stone and I became insensitive to the human suffering and I only thought that I'm suffering like the most of everyone, like it's really like kind of selfish attitude. And yeah, now I really like understood how other people are suffering deeply. I mean, I could not understand like the symbol of suffering. So I mean, what? Of course, I was hurting people because I only was thinking that I been hurted so much that it's justified. Like it's everything forgiven for me because my father was alcoholic and I've been like hurted in my young days, didn't pay much attention. This is why I spent so much time drawing, like it's like yeah, all that kind of stuff. And this is why I can do whatever I want because you know what happened to me? La, 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 la. Oh, it's just like me. And suddenly there was no me anymore. Because me is me just died and I was a ghost. I had this ego death and I was like, mm, I I didn't know who I am and how my life is gonna be, but I knew there's like no way back. So this is how the big transformation was taking place. And now is October 2nd and it was the beginning of May. So count yourself how much time. Anyway, I'm gonna do more talking because it feels great. Just go back and to remember all this thing, but and also it's just like not only for me to feel great because obviously it took mm, some long hours of like getting myself ready and finally speaking. I just know that God wants me to talk about it because maybe there's some kind of person who really needs to hear it. Anyway, when all this crazy shit was happening in Berlin and all this transformation, I was like finding symbols, finding like a signs, and like one of this was I found this feather. Yeah, this is like an earring, and this is like a feather. So I was like, all right, that's totally means that I'm like now communicating with like an angels and And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I was like always like communicating with the demons, and now I'm communicating with the angels, and with like everything looks like a biblical sushis in my life, and now I'm like connected with God. I'm like, wow, that's something new, and I'm like excited about it because I fucking was tired with my life anyway. So this is now was something new happening, and yeah, more about that and more about breaking into the bright side in my next live video. So yeah, cheers guys, and see you sometime soon.